Welcome to Mom's Timeout. I'm your host, Heather. Make sure you follow me on my socials and subscribe to the Mom's Timeout podcast on my YouTube channel, or you can stream on Apple and Spotify. If you're here, I know you've got a lot on your plate. Whether you're up all night with a newborn, chasing a toddler or multiple toddlers around, helping your school age kids with homework, or just trying to keep things together with your grown kids. You're doing it all, and I see you. This space is for every mom, no matter where you are on this wild ride of motherhood. We're keeping it real here. No sugarcoating, just straight up, honest talk. Have you ever had that moment where you realize, wait a second, why does everything feel impossible for moms? Like, why is childcare so expensive that some moms are forced to quit their jobs? Why is the school schedule completely misaligned with the modern work schedule? Why do moms carry the mental, the emotional, and the physical load of the family while being told, well, you should just be grateful? And why the hell does no one in power seem to care? That's exactly what we're getting into today. Because the people making decisions about our lives, childcare, wages, healthcare, public schools, are so out of fucking touch with the realities of working moms that they may as well be making policies for a completely different fucking planet. And it's not just a, whoops, we forgot about you situation. This shit's intentional. The more exhausted and overworked we are, the less we fight back. And guess what? That stops today because we're breaking down why the system was built to work against us. We are exposing the hypocrisy of women being too emotional to lead, while men in power get to act like toddlers with microphones. We're calling out how both parties, yes, both, have abandoned the working class. And we're talking about the moms, women, and everyday people who are standing up and making waves. I'm also going to give you some real actionable steps because knowing the problem isn't enough. We need to know what to do about it. So buckle up, grab your coffee or your choice of beverage, and let's get into it because we're about to have a conversation that a lot of people in power don't want us to have. As moms, we are running everything. We are literally the foundation of society. We raise the next generation. We manage schedules. We keep the peace. We work full time. We feed everyone. We keep our relationships afloat, well, as best as we can. And somehow we're still getting emails about who's bringing snacks for soccer this Thursday. And yet, when policies are written, when decisions are made, where are we? Well, I'll tell you, nowhere. The people in power don't center moms in their policies. Hell, they barely center working class people at all. We are ignored, overlooked, expected to figure it out. But why? Because power is about control. And the last thing they want is moms, women, and the working class realizing that we have power of our own. You do not have to run for office to make a difference, but you do need to realize how much power you hold because it is time that we start running the damn show. So let me ask you this. Why does everything feel so damn hard? Well, it's because the system we're living in was never built for modern families. School schedules designed around a time when most moms were stay-at-home moms. Paid leave. The US is one of the only developed countries that doesn't guarantee paid maternity leave. Childcare, well, the average cost of daycare in the US is $11,000 per child per year. And if you live in other states, it can range. For some families, that is more than their rent or mortgage. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way because other countries have it figured out. In Finland, new parents get 164 weeks of paid maternity leave. In Sweden, childcare costs are capped at 3% of a household's income. And in Norway, they have universal childcare. So tell me again why the richest country in the world can't do the same. Well, the truth, they could. They just don't want to because the people in power, they are not fucking struggling with this shit. Their kids go to private schools. They can afford nannies. They don't have to worry about how to make it all work. And that's why nothing changes because they aren't experiencing the same reality that we are. Which brings me to my next point. Who exactly is making these decisions? There was once a time when Democrats actually fought for the working class. They don't anymore. Republicans never fought for us. They just tricked people into thinking that they do. The truth, both parties have become corporate owned machines. How do I know this? Look at what they actually do and not what they say. The child tax credit, a policy that literally cut child poverty in half, was allowed to expire by both parties. Minimum wage, that hasn't been raised in over a decade, while the cost of living keeps skyrocketing. Healthcare, still tied to jobs in a way that keeps people stuck in bad situations. But here's where the good news comes in because there are people that are starting to fight back. Look at Sarah McBride, the first openly trans state senator fighting for paid leave in Delaware. Look at Ayanna Pressley, who is calling out the broken public education system, and Katie Porter, exposing corporate greed and political corruption on live TV. I just love her whiteboard presentations. These women are not waiting for someone else to fix it, and neither should we. And here's what gives me hope. We're seeing people fight back in real time. Moms are showing up in town hall meetings, demanding the school board protects kids instead of banning books. Unions organizing for better wages and conditions, winning higher pay across the industries. Women leading the biggest voter registration drives in years because they know what was at stake. The narrative that people don't care is a lie. People do care. People are fighting, people are winning, but what we need is to keep pushing forward. I watch a lot of videos on the internet. I more specifically enjoy scrolling TikTok, where I have found a great community of people that share a lot of my same passions. But also among those videos are people that are wanting to help, wanting to get involved, and feeling a little lost and confused where to start. So I want to provide a few things that I have been doing in my community. I have found groups that are local to me that support my same views, and I have been able to find community in these people and just having conversations. Sometimes we meet socially, sometimes we meet for a more informative meeting, but it makes me feel like I'm a part of something, that I am contributing to my community and making an impact. And doing things like that has forced me to get out of the comfort of my four walls at home. I'm very much an introverted extrovert. I would choose to stay home over almost anything, but I am selectively social. So the things that I do go out and choose to be extroverted in are things that lift me up and bring me joy and provide community and talking to other people. I really do enjoy those things. Now, of course, I do have to go home and recharge my introvert battery, but I leave those events just feeling so recharged and so full of joy that it's worth it. I've also used social media to help me connect with groups that are not necessarily local to me, and that has been a big help. That's why I continue to stay on Facebook because I'm a part of so many different groups. And that's something I don't want to walk away from. Finding that community of people, whether it's on social media or it's local and in person, really helps you to feel like you're not alone. Because the last thing that you want to feel in these times of chaos and uncertainty is feeling like you're isolated and you're all alone, because ultimately the reality is you are not alone at all, but you have to put yourself out there to go find your people. They're not always necessarily going to just show up for you. Some other things that I'm doing is I'm trying to get more involved in my community where I live in my city and creating something more social for like minded people that share my views and making that happen because we don't have that in my small town. It's very old school. And so it needs some revitalization to get people more active and involved in our community. There's also an organization called the 5051 movement. It's a grassroots movement in which all of the events are organized by individual volunteers. And this week is the State of the Union address on Tuesday. And I was checking out the website and seeing if there was any peaceful protests local to me. And all of them posted were a little further of a drive than I was willing to make. So I reached out to my local Facebook groups and asked if anybody would be interested in, making a protest happen locally. And so another local mom joined in with me and we said, let's do it. And so we actually created a local event for a peaceful protest. We're going to a Representative Texas office nearby and I've bought poster boards and some markers and we're making some signs. We're going to be out there and we're going to protest. We're getting our voices heard. And that brings me peace. Being out there, feeling like I'm part of the resistance, part of the change and making things happen. And that's the other thing I want to bring attention to is I feel like we get so overwhelmed with like the big picture of like, what's going on in our US government when really we need to be focused on what's going on in our local governments. Whether you're in a blue state or a red state or somewhere in between, what is going on locally? Because that's where we need to start making the changes. We have to work our way from the bottom to the top. And look, as I've mentioned before, both parties have their flaws. Our US government was set up for way back when, and times have changed, and there's not been enough change and progress within our US government to adapt to what's going on in the world. It's really made a turn for the worse in which it's not actually working for the American people. And that's where we need the change. So I'm all for both parties getting their shit together and unifying and coming together. I don't know if that's possible because of how extreme they are with their views, that there's so much fighting within each party that we can't get shit done. And that's obviously a bigger problem than I can solve myself. So I have to think small, focusing on what's going on locally and using my voice where I can, being proactive. Think more resistance than a revolution. We don't have to do anything crazy, making a huge uproar. We're just small steps. Use your voice, get yourself out there, whether you're posting on social media, you're having conversations with people, broaden your perspectives, know what's going on both sides, not just your view. That's really helped me understand what's going on is just having a view of like the overall picture and what this side's thinking and this side's thinking and then being able to have a formed opinion, a formed decision of what I believe. All right, let's bring it all together. We have talked about why moms are left out of policies that directly impact us. We've broken down how both parties have abandoned the working class, and we've spotlighted the incredible people who are fighting back and making real change. But here's the most important part. What do we do now? Well, start local. Know who's on your school board, your city council, and state legislator. They make the direct decisions about schools, wages, and laws that impact your daily life. Next, support women in leadership. Follow them, amplify their voices, vote for them. Women in power means better policies for families. And last, and certainly not least, use your voice. Speak up at school board meetings. Share information. Don't let bad policies slide under the radar. We have influence if we choose to use it. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, let me leave you with this. You don't have to do everything, just do something because small actions lead to bigger movements. If this episode fired you up, send it to a friend because trust me, you are not the only one feeling this way. And make sure you're following me on my socials and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you get notified for upcoming episodes. Remember, this is a long game. and we need to take care of ourselves while we fight for change. I'll see you then. Until next time, take care of you.